The Match Ball.
Hello there and welcome to the Match Ball for the Cardiff City FA Cup game, which is brought to you in association with Levi's Solicitors. They will do you that 10% discount on your legal fees. Usual address coming in a second. 15% until the end of January 2023 on wills, probate and conveyancing. It's levisolicitors.co.uk/the square ball. Dan, Michael and Rob here with you. Moscow was going to come back for this, failed a late fitness test.
I think he's on the run.
He is, right, okay. And apologies to people who've been waiting for the live stream as well. We are live on YouTube for our TSB Plus members. We realised that we did like a software update to some of the equipment here. Software update to some of the equipment here, and it blew out the whole, like, the graphics and stuff, so we just had to do some wizardry. It wasn't pointing at me, Normanson. Anyway, that was good fun, wasn't it?
No, well...
Did you enjoy that?
It was something, wasn't it?
It was all right. It was exciting.
Quite sure
what more do you want from your football?
It's our best cup run since
2016, 17, something like that.
So that's
a
good.
While.
Yeah.
We're on the march, aren't we? On the march to Wembley.
But look at the excitement we had there towards the end of that game. That was great fun.
I mean, I am glad we didn't lose, because we didn't deserve to lose, did we?
It was fairly bleak, wasn't it, then, like in that first half when we got to half-time, and they got rightfully booed off because it was terrible. Despite a relatively bright start in the first 10 or 15 minutes, we sort of were okay but didn't really threaten anything, like, in terms of goals.
It's kind of all right to be like that, as long as you can do very basic defending, because then we go in 0-0 and you go, all right, well, yeah, it's not really working, but we can look to change things a bit, you can tweak it, but you give yourself a platform to maybe win a game. Whereas just constantly giving the opposition a lead.
I think we just need to not play Pascal Struijk against Cardiff. Bad things happen.
It's true.
Bad vibes are in the air when that happens. He looked like he's been playing left back all season, and he's now forgot how to play centre back, it seems.
It was pretty disastrous, wasn't it, Pascal's first half?
We do have defensive issues, don't we?
Massively so.
Do you think if we get past Cardiff, will be enough to keep Boreham Wood at bay?
I checked, actually. They are 13th in the National League. So maybe
force them to a replay.
I'm not at all confident.
Well, I'll tell you what, let's not even start talking about that yet. We can worry about that when we get around to it in due course in the next few days. Because Cardiff game first, let's deal with that. I mean, Cardiff, when that game turned, when it finally turned, I think we kind of... it only ever looked like it was going to go one way. You could tell there was a difference in class when we got them on the back foot, but we dug ourselves such a hole before that.
Just look so weak in that first half. So fragile was the word I noted down, because it was, like I said, the start was all right. Not great, but all right. And like I say, something that we should be able to build on. And then we concede a goal, or we gift them a goal, and they were just a bit pathetic for the rest of the half, weren't the Leeds? Like, just I don't know, you don't want to read into like body language too much, things like that, but they just looked like they'd kind of accepted it a little bit of like, oh yeah, we're losing here, and that's going to happen. It's like, oh right, okay.
But the changes at half time.
Come on, listen. We did turn it around, and I know it was a little bit kind of right up against it then towards the end, but it did work in the end. It's just a shame we got into that situation in the first place, wasn't it? Which was really, really shit. There's no disguising that part of it.
It's a good advert for people who question why we're not necessarily optimistic a lot of the time. You think, just watch the first hour of that game.
It started going wrong fairly early for Struijk as well, and I've made a note after 5 minutes he put it out for a corner. He was trying to pass it back to, it was Robles in net, wasn't it? He tried to pass it back to Robles, and it was too far away, it was too wide for him, and he seemed, I think that maybe that relationship was a bit at the root of the other mistake he made as well, because he was looking for someone behind him, I think, and then it turned out it was a Cardiff player.
Right, yeah.
Running him.
It really was, wasn't
running
it?
him behind him. And then the other goal, it was just someone ran from midfield, and surely, I don't know if it should have been Aronson or Greenwood or who should have been tracking that run.
I think it seemed to be Aronson who kind of just watched him run behind our defence, and then Llorente sort of got caught under the ball. But yeah, not a great look, albeit turns out Junior Firpo is our best attacker.
Well, I was going to say, hear me out here. Maybe his new role is as a winger.
Maybe.
I know we don't play with width.
No, we don't have any wingers.
In the sense that we use traditional wingers, but maybe that's his calling in life.
Or maybe he's just a fullback who can't defend.
Winger.
But he's okay going forward.
As he popped up in the first half, sort of on the right wing, I called him a false three, which I think is his role.
That was good fun.
Robbed of his big moment today as well, wasn't he?
He was, wasn't he? Yeah.
He was on the way into the goal, was that?
I mean, there's all of us, I think, everybody, and judging Twitter as well, the reaction on it with the diving save from the Cardiff defender, the young lad. everyone just kind of went, fair enough, it's a good save. He's done what he had to do to try and save his team. And especially when we missed the penalty, he just kind of sighed and went, it's so Leeds, but at least the lad's going to feel vindicated.
The save from the left back was a better save than the penalty save.
Yeah.
And there was that moment where Firpo was stood on the penalty spot with the ball. And it's like, is Junior going to let him?
I think he was just guarding the penalty spot, wasn't he? I think is all it turned out he was doing. But everyone was like, has he had a real moment of confidence in him? And it's like, no. It should have been my goal. I'm having this.
It is. It's really. We got to be careful here because there's been like a barnstorming finish to it, and people.
We're shit.
We'll feel quite happy with that. But I was going to say,
we're unacceptably bad.
We've got to say that the defensive organisation is pitiful, isn't it? And it needs sorting out.
And the attacking organisation's sort of pitiful too. I know we had a load of chances and pressure at the end.
Isn't that what attacking is, though?
But it's just we don't
attack like that, Michael.
We don't build anything, do we? Once you get a team on the back foot and there's a bit of panic and we're throwing loads of people forward, we can cause problems. But it's not a way of playing that you can do from the first minute. It's nothing that we're doing that you can say, okay, well, that worked well, that bit we were doing, so the next game we can start that way. Because
I know what you mean.
At 0-0, you'll get picked off.
We saw it against West Ham, didn't we? In that it was only when we started chasing the game that it started to look effective. Like we didn't look like we knew what to do in terms of being protagonists in the game.
Yeah, I don't think there's much of a plan there. I still feel there's nothing really worth saving in the way we play.
A lot of it was still kind of shots from the edge of the box that were getting blocked or set pieces. Strauch should have scored. Nonso in the first half, he had a header inside the 6-yard box, didn't he? He wins a weird amount of headers for such a small man, Willie Nonso.
So we do it. It's what we're practicing in training.
But yeah, I was asking you two, like, in the second half, like, have we actually created a chance here that's not a set piece? There was Somerville in the first half. He bent one over the bar, didn't he? But that was kind of a miscontrol from the defender, and yeah, it wasn't the easiest on the eye. But Rodrigo's really is Jesse's guy, isn't he? He's saving his skin, quite frankly.
Yeah. I mean, his other guys, Brendan Aronson as well, who once again was shite, I thought.
He needs a rest. He just needs a rest, doesn't he? Have a rest, taken out of it for a week too.
Mind you, the obvious change for him today would have been Harrison, who was on the bench, even though he was evidently not fit. Because if not during that second half, when do you bring him on? And the same as Rocker. It's like when we brought I can't remember his name, Verber on, and we were like, oh, he's coming on. Then you're like, hang on, he's coming on for.
He's a midfielder.
For JB, and he's playing in midfield. Okay.
It worked.
He was good.
He was all right.
That's the funny thing.
He was good in there. Yeah, he did actually make quite a difference. I thought he was good.
I am being asked in the comments, by the way, on YouTube. Black Badge is asking what happened to my relentless optimism. That's fine. We're in the cup. We made it into the 4th round draw.
You were very zen when that equaliser went in, weren't you?
I was very, very calm, very restrained. I knew that was coming. To be fair, it always looked like it was coming. I mean, people are questioning here. Rob's asking about pitiful attacking in quote marks. What a load of crap. We had loads of clear chances to have that one 4 or 5 versus 2, which is correct. I think what you mean is like trying to win the game from the off rather than when we're chasing it is what you meant.
And playing a team that are just outside the relegation zone in the Championship, who themselves made loads of changes, who for some of that time were down to 10 men. It's not good enough.
But what do you want though, other than absolutely piling forward at
some plan of attack
from the off? You mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
because we don't look like we really started with a way of scoring a goal in that.
But the end attack was good.
Yeah, I suppose.
Well, of course it was. We had loads of chances. What more do you want?
To be better against a bad Championship team.
But you can only sort of deal with the circumstances you dealt, is what I mean. So
we dealt our own circumstances of our own making.
But we were dead good in the second half. Then when we were chasing it and we brought it back, we should have run away with that because we had the penalty, we had the header.
No, I agree. We should have won it in the end.
Joseph had that great chance as well, didn't he? Which he skied over the bar. I think it is 2 wins in 16 though, which.
Yeah, you can't be upset. You can't really complain about people complaining when it's 2 wins in 16.
No, but I'm saying like you're suggesting that we're not attacking when we did attack and we attacked well in that second half. It's just a shame that we were shit from the off and didn't dug ourselves a hole. Let's talk about some of the bits that happened then.
My main complaint is the defence, to be clear, because we don't give ourselves any kind of a platform to win games because we always concede a couple of goals, and you can't afford to do it. We're needing to score 3 or 4 goals to win games, and it's, to quote Steve Nicol, it's not sustainable.
Yeah, we did concede our customary 2 per game, didn't we? Which is not sustainable. I think it's true. Yeah, we really can't organise a defence.
No, and the personnel all changed today, and it looked. I mean, I suppose if you're being generous, I think more so than normal, you would put, certainly the first goal you would put down to an individual mistake. That was definitely on Straug, and I don't think that was a system problem particularly. He just needs to deal with that in a better way.
Yeah.
But the second goal was very much like we are, where people just appear in the box and with no one marking them, and that happens every single game.
Is that? Well, that's down to system then, is it?
That is, yeah. The second one is. The first one, say, I could feel like I can sort of write that off.
Yeah.
But they've not scored in 3 games before this.
I think they're the Championship's lowest scorers, they were saying on the coverage, weren't they? And they were 2-0 up at half time.
Yeah.
But as Jesse said, though, we don't play like anybody else, do we?
No.
In the wake of West Ham. For better or for worse. And maybe that's the thing, is that maybe it's absolutely terrible at the back and we attack in a way that obviously is not to everyone's liking, but we still did create loads of chances and should have won that.
Okay.
In the end. He does sound convinced.
Well, no, because I think it was a bad performance.
I think I would actually say as well, there are people here in the comments just asking whether I'm playing devil's advocate, and I am. I'm trying to unpick what we take from this, because I think it's.
And I think
it's really not good.
I think as well, it was crying out for changes at half time, and instead we waited for an hour, and it was only after we made changes that we were better. They could have been made at half time. Yeah,
my big concern is that, and Marsh has addressed it in the post-match comments, is saying that we know one thing: if we don't show up from the does he mean from the start? Then we will cause trouble for ourselves. But that seems to keep happening. So yeah, I have big concerns about what the system does to us. I think
we just always seem to be. It's just always so precarious, isn't it? We're always like on the precipice of this.
Yeah.
You don't watch it and think, I can see us getting better. You just watch it and think, this is more of the same, which doesn't encourage you. And I think that's where a lot of the frustration comes from. And I don't know, we're going over old ground, aren't we? But there's just not the credit in the bank there, is there, to get that trust and think, oh, right, okay, we come back from 2-0 down, great. It's like, we were 2-0 down.
Yeah,
that's very worrying.
I mean, I think, and then just judging by the tone of the comments, that kind of a lot of people going back and forth and talking about the system and different players, and people asking if am I on drugs, for example. I am not on drugs. I've just been on the I'm on the 7-Up at the minute.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is probably a good indicator of how difficult it is to understand this team and get your head properly around the system and what we're trying to achieve. Because from week to week, we're never quite sure, are we? But we keep falling behind. But then you get good bits like the comeback today. That
we're actually pretty consistent in the way in the pattern of our games.
Right.
I would say there's normally a bit where we go behind and look terrible, or we take the lead then go behind and look terrible. But then there's a bit where we chuck a load of players on and everyone's steaming forward and we look dangerous and like we can score because there are some good players in there.
Yeah.
And just the sheer weight of numbers on the attacking does cause problems. I think in a different game, I know Cardiff had a couple of breaks in the second half. In a different game, maybe with better or faster players, slightly more composed playing out from the back, we may have been picked off in that phase when we were having him in, which we're entitled to do because we know they're not that good because they're 20th in the Championship. So maybe it's a way that you choose to play in a game like that. But I don't know. It feels difficult to. Well, you can't always come from a couple of goals back, can you?
David's making a good point here, actually, in the comments, saying that Marsh is beginning to blame the players. And in Dave's opinion, he's got to go. He plans the setup and the start. Yeah, I think that's fair enough. I mean, everyone will have different opinions on whether it's time for him to go or not. And it is true. It is true, isn't it? If you're constantly saying that we don't show up from the start, then is it how you're starting out?
Yeah, I mean, Spurs have got this weird thing going on this season as well, haven't they? Where they start every game really badly and come back. I don't know. I can't get a grip of us. I don't feel like it's working though. I would still probably be looking at getting rid of him, truthfully.
Right.
Just because I don't think it's working. It never improves. Rob said 2 wins in 16.
Yeah, I do struggle to see where it's going. Look, we could go around the houses on this over and over again, and until something changes or doesn't change, then it's not really worth saying over and over again, is it? Let's talk about some of the moments in the match. And I thought Rodrigo, when he came on, changed it, didn't he? Really?
He did both with his header. And Joffin not had a kick at it.
I can really sense your happiness. You're oozing it, Michael, today.
It is hard to be enthusiastic, isn't it?
It's good we're not out.
Yeah,
it's really good that we're not out.
And we've got a draw in the next round potentially that could lead to Wembley. Shouldn't we be happy we're still in it, Michael? Come on.
No, we should. And it's kind of a good draw in some ways in terms of the level of opposition. So if we can get through, all we've got to do to get into the 6th round of the FA Cup
Fifth.
is overcome. No, because we need to beat.
This is the 3rd, and
This
we've
is
got
the
4th
third.
next. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
but
it'll be
then
5th.
yeah, but then we. Yeah, sorry, that's right.
We're not used to this sort of being
Forget
a
numbers.
cup, are we?
I didn't know it went beyond the 3rd. But yeah, we've got an easy run there if we want it.
Yeah.
We've got a home game now against the team 20th in the Championship. We've then got to go away to a team who are either, I wrote it down, 21st in League One or 13th in the National League.
Tough one, isn't it?
You can't really complain about the draw.
Why am I so frightened?
Exactly.
Just years and years of experience, isn't it? But it was quite as Phil Hay put it best, actually, it was quite an enjoyable second half from the neutral perspective, but we're not neutral, so it's tear your hair out time again, isn't it? But it was just kind of funny that the whole penalty and the amount of pressure that we had. And I always felt like we were going to score, but then as it got later and later, I thought, it's not going to be our day, is it?
It didn't feel very Leedsy to equalise, I have to say.
No.
They're missing the penalty bit. Having loads of pressure, loads of chances, and then missing a penalty. That felt Leedsy.
Yeah, that was the script, wasn't it?
The actual grabbing of a late goal, I was a bit like, oh, okay, well, that's good. Feels like we've not done that in a while.
What did you make
the
of
Cup.
Verba when he came on then? That was the hour mark.
He was good. He got stuck in, got on the ball, a few passes forward. He seemed to be shooting a lot. He was part of that sort of shooting from the edge of the box and keep getting blocked. But yeah, he just added a bit of...
We haven't broken him yet, have we?
No, there's still time, Dan, don't worry. But I suppose it was, like you say, you'd have expected Rocker maybe to have come on in that position. But
Is he been carrying either a knock or a slight, not quite there fitness-wise?
Yeah, I think it was Rocker and Harrison were due to start and had fitness tests, and that was when they were put on the bench. But yeah, it seems like there was never any plan to actually get them on.
No, I thought it looked good. Considering he is a defender, he was quite composed on the ball. I suppose you can see bits of left back in him in the way that he's willing to receive passes and stuff. So, or equally as maybe a ball playing centre back.
Paul, sorry, I was going to say Paul points out that he tried to kill a man, which was funny.
Yeah, just about to say a couple of big challenges he steamed into. Which going back to that video I mentioned the other day of him and Rasmus Christensen, and one of the questions was who's the toughest tackler, and Christensen. They both agree it's Christensen, and he says I'm the more dangerous. And Verba sort of laughs as if like more dangerous. Like, that's not a good thing. But then you watch him tackle today and think, well, you're not that different.
Yeah, Christensen wasn't good either, was he?
No, he was not. He was not. Why can't he pass to our team? What is it in his head?
Control it.
As a professional footballer, why? I wonder, is it like when a golfer gets the yips or something? Because obviously, I know you're a high-level coach, Michael.
Golf and football.
Yeah.
Do both.
But we've never played to a huge standard, obviously a very high standard.
Speak for yourself.
I just wanted to be honest about it, But I just wonder what it is what gets in their heads when nothing works for them.
He always looks like he needs to calm down a bit. Does Rasmus? He's a bit 100 miles an hour all the time. He reminds me a bit of like the early days of Danny Mills when that kind of head down running style on the right, and it just never quite worked.
Yeah,
but I mean, he did eventually come around to being all right, did Mills?
The song doesn't scan though, does it?
You
Rasmus Christian is flipping brilliant.
No, yeah.
Some of his best moments today were like when he'd have a terrible touch or he'd lose the ball, but then he'd tackle to win it back. And it is that sort of just barnstorming down the wing without any sort of real poise. But I don't know. Personally, I'd still have Ayling at right back.
Yeah,
myself.
I think he's probably done enough there as Rasmus to make sure Ayling stays at right
It's
back.
been pointed out in the comments. Rob says that Drame offered more than Rasmus when he came on, which he did, didn't he? He looked like a calmer head.
Admittedly, at a point when we were getting camped in their half, I suppose, so he didn't have both him and Firpo. They didn't have to do any defending in that second half, did they? It was all
probably for the best where Junior's concerned.
It was all pushed right up, wasn't it? So, but it was good to see Firpo actually looking useful, though.
Yeah,
second half he played well. His back heel for the goal, beautiful.
That was outrageous, was that? Yeah,
brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant.
He likes a back heel in the box, doesn't he, Firpo? He's done it before, hasn't he? Was it at Leicester in
our box or their box? I feel like he's probably done.
Yeah. Was it Marsh's first game at Leicester where he nearly scored with a back heel or something?
I can't remember.
But yeah, he's got that sort of renegade quality to him, hasn't he?
What else have we got then?
Well, not Matthew Joseph. He missed. Sonny Perkins. Ali McCoy's got him confused as well, didn't he?
In fact, let's address that goal because there was some confusion between. I don't know if it was was it commentators? It wasn't Ali. Ali got it, didn't he? Was it Tildesley who was on the commentary for us, which was nice to see, by the way, because they're a nice pairing, the pair of them, when they commentate together. But Ali clocked the man at the back who was off the pitch, but you still count as being on, don't you? Because if you could play offside just by stepping off the pitch, then you would just jump off the pitch. When you stand on the byline and just step off it. Offside, lads.
This is when you were incredibly zen, just screaming at the TV.
He's outside! He's outside! You idiots!
I think I was stood
like
up
that.
like flicking the V's at the TV, pointing. Nobody could see me apart from you two, which is quite sad, really.
It was it was good to not lose because I just can't be bothered with the gloating and stuff. I know there won't be that much of it, but
Whenever you hear the opposition singing Leeds are falling apart, it's always nice to come back and stop that and sing that back at them.
and they were all laying passes after like 45 minutes, weren't they, as well, which could
Yeah,
fuck
that
off.
little back heel over in the corner thing.
I was thinking, this is not fair. It was a bit of a, to contrast it with the cup game back in the O'Leary era, very different atmosphere though, wasn't it? Loads of empty seats, barely heard their fans. It was, I suppose it was quite a nice atmosphere for us to play in some ways. It wasn't exactly a bear pit, was it?
No, and then we'll get a home tie replay, which hopefully should sell out as well. Give people a chance who can't normally get there to maybe to get tickets, and we can.
So I'm glad we didn't win.
Have another
Draw's perfect.
another 90 minutes of crushing existential dread as we try and get through to a tie against a non-league side potentially. Let's have a look at what it was that who said it now. It was House of Stoats, wasn't it? Who's just pointed out that Firpo went the whole game without a yellow. Another positive from today.
He did.
So that was good.
Nonso got one for diving.
Well,
Stop
yeah,
that.
shoot, naughty boy. Would you have given it though? Yeah.
What, was a penalty?
Yeah.
Or was it yellow? I mean, there was a microscopic bit of contact that he generated. So, no, it's not a penalty.
He did
I thought there was a penalty on Aronson earlier on. In the first couple of minutes, he was definitely having his shirt
pulled,
held.
yeah.
But, you know, he probably, if he stayed on his feet occasionally, it probably would help him when he does go down.
Didn't it feel like a slight relief to you, or am I just imagining this, to not have VAR?
Yeah, well, it did, apart from the fact I'd forgotten, so I didn't celebrate some goals properly because I was still our equaliser. I was still a bit confused by, and then I was like, "There's over here! Oh, we can celebrate."
And likewise with that Aronson shirt pull, you'd be like, "Okay, we'll get it checked." Oh, right, no, okay, never mind.
It must be a bit of a head fuck for referees to have to go between. I'm not sure what level this guy normally refs
Was
at.
it Gillett, Gary Gillett?
Was it? I can't remember.
Maybe somebody.
But yes,
suggested,
to go between levels where you're thinking, "Oh, I've got VR to fall back on," and then having to go to a game where you don't.
But Michael, they don't use it as a crutch to fall back
No,
on.
oh, certainly not,
They
no.
referee the game, and then VAR just has a little whisper in their ear saying, "Hey, Jared, you got something a bit wrong," and he goes, "All right, mate."
That's certainly how it appears.
Yes. What else do you want to talk about from this game then? Yeah, Sonny Perkins. We didn't properly talk about actual Sonny Perkins coming on. Didn't do much because he wasn't on for very long, but still
Useless.
But his first senior goal, which is really important for him as well. And Sonny Perkins, not Sonny Perkins, Mateo Joseph, sorry, came on. Should have scored. How did he not score that?
It came in pretty fast.
It was a touch behind him, wasn't it?
I mean, I wouldn't have made contact with him. For all we've watched it and you go, oh, he's got to score there. It was whipped at him at a fair pace and stuff, but yeah, he should probably have scored there.
And just returning to Willie, actually, he was quite bright, was Willie, wasn't he? Just getting the ball and running at him seemed to put them on the back foot a lot and cause them problems.
Yeah, it did.
I like Willie.
It was he was involved in the equaliser, wasn't it? It was him beating the full back and getting the cross in. That was kind of a similar scenario from which he dived in the first half. He beat the full back in kind of the same way, taking him on the outside and then cut it back for Firpo's beautiful back heel.
The youngsters, we played quite a lot of young players today. Joe Gelhardt seems to not be able to get himself into the game when he plays up front.
Yeah, I don't think he necessarily works in this system.
No.
Which is a shame because I think he's good.
With the new lad Rutter coming in potentially, you would imagine, does Joffrey go out on loan? Maybe. He needs some game time, doesn't he? He needs to play and just find his shooting boots.
Yeah, it does feel that way. I mean, he was sold to us in summer as being the best young prospect in the Premier League, wasn't he? And then if he doesn't have a chance to actually play games in a system that works.
It was Catherine Hanna who was on Radio Leeds. I was listening to on the way in, who was pointing out that when you look at like Beckford as an example, who went out on loan a couple of times before he came back and then did it for Leeds, and obviously it's a higher level than that, but maybe it's just about going out and finding your form.
Yeah, I think loans do help people. Although I did watch a bit of Charlie Cresswell yesterday, and he was struggling a touch, to be honest. But you need to play a lot of matches. I think that's where Nonto gets an advantage over other young players, is that he's had
game time.
He's had a lot of games, and it's not in a Premier League standard of league, but it's still a decent league with men playing in it.
And for Italy, the
Yes,
senior Italy team,
that too,
which is the big one.
Well, we'll wrap it up in a minute. Before we do that, I want to ask, because Jesse said his overriding emotion at the end of that is pride. What's yours?
Not pride.
Confusion.
Frustration, I suppose. Because I feel like we've got actually quite a lot of good players.
Just need organising into something that resembles good football.
The balance isn't brilliant all the time, but I feel like we've got enough good players that we should be able to get more out of the team than we do.
Yeah, I don't buy this argument you sometimes see online that the squad's full of championship players. That's the phrase that always gets thrown about. I don't get. I think in the summer we were all kind of quite. I know there were two obvious glaring gaps, but the majority of the summer we were like, yeah, this is good. They've built a decent looking squad here.
And it seems like they've been on the front foot a little bit in the transfer market. If we are to get Rutter, it puts potentially more goals into the team. But spinning back to what we were saying at the start of the show, it's the organisation of the defence that terrifies me most of all.
Yeah, maybe adding Rutter means we do get 3 goals every game, and therefore can continue conceding 2 every single game. It doesn't. The thing is, I'm not suggesting the squad's brilliant or that we should be top half with it, but I think the squad is probably 4 or 5 points better than we currently are.
And Joel is making the point, proud of 2 in 16 and nearly losing at a championship reserve team. Yep.
Yeah, it ain't great.
Depends which way you want to look at things, doesn't it?
Should say that.
Which is the positive way?
Well,
giving your very positive.
My new Zen positive, entirely authentic persona.
Yes.
Well, we're on the cup run that Angus Kinnear has asked for.
Also, one
You're fighting for that?
It seems quite stationary as cup runs go, because
we haven't left the station yet.
We've not gone backwards. We're not out, but we're not in. We're just
gone in a circle.
Just still out with it now.
Leeds United women are in the 4th round of the FA Cup because they've beat Stoke today, who are in the division above, and are now going to play Arsenal, which I think is. I've just seen a tweet which I think is due to be played at Boreham Wood, potentially the same day that where we could be due to play Boreham Wood. So 2 games at once, maybe. I don't know, half each.
Play one then the other.
Might work. Anything to add then before we head off? When's the next time we're back? It's Sunday today, isn't it? So there's a Phil Hayes show tomorrow. We'll find out what Phil thought about all that. 4.5 hour drive home. It's a long way, isn't it, from Cardiff?
It is a long way. It's even longer on a coach.
But to be fair, we had a nice ending to the game, so we can be happy about that. At least you come out of the game bouncing and excited a little bit.
You got to boo them off at half time and then celebrate with them at full time.
All the emotions. It's a cup treadmill run. Brilliant. Wish I thought of that. That's Perlo's beard in the comments. We're on a treadmill run in the cup.
Yes, very much so.
Excellent. We'll return this coming week and see what it brings, shall we?
Let's.
Progress in the cup. Thank you for joining us on the audio and the video as well. We will speak to you soon.
The Match Ball.